Today's Coaching Coordinator podcast is from a segment taken from the Pennsylvania Scholastic Football Coaches Association Clinic this past offseason. In this quickcast, Archie Collins, defensive backs coach at Pitt, shares the main philosophies that he utilizes to coach his defensive backs in a nationally ranked defense. He talks about traits as well as what they do to prevent tackling errors. Coach gives a great foundation here as you look ahead to the 2021 season and things you need to do to get your position group ready. The entire clinic is available on CoachTube, and it continues to support the Pennsylvania Scholastic Football Coaches Association. In that clinic talk, he shows all of the drills that he talks about after this segment in both practice film and game film. The link to this is in the show notes. Here's Archie Collins, defensive backs coach at Pitt.
Go through here, just want to kind of give you my coaching philosophies on, what to do on a daily basis. And I think the first thing first will be having great communication, so want to always be able to talk to our players daily about how they're doing. Always get their good, bad news, the whole 9 yards from what's going on outside of football sometimes, because it's important that they know how much you care about them outside of football. And obviously being in high school, you even get a lot more stories in that regard within yourselves as well. Always want to let them know where they stand, all right, as far as on a depth chart, things of that nature. We want to be able to make sure they know there's no surprises out here. So as this thing continues on throughout the season, it's got to be great communication in that regard, they, again, just have a good feeling for where they are within how you see them. Is not always the way that they see themselves, so you got to keep that thing going in that regard. I always try to evaluate the previous practice, all right? I want to tell them quickly. To start each meeting, I always kind of go over the good and the bad that they've done from yesterday's practice, from techniques violations, the whole 9 yards. We'll just do a nice quick bullet point, go over the good things they did, bad things they did, and then also grade them for the day. I'll grade them winning, average, or losing, flat and simple. All right, so they know they may have felt that they did the best job in practice yesterday, but I grade them at average, and then these are the reasons why. Or they could have graded them as winning, and these are the reasons why. Shouldn't be too many losings out of there, is what you're trying to avoid. All right, but on the field, I want to make sure that we're always correcting them immediately. I always want to be coaching, I always want to be teaching. All right, so that's the main objective when you're out there in practice. All right, but yet still, I never want them to also feel in their mind that they're having they're getting down on themselves, because I think the mind is very important in keeping a positive outlook on everything that you're doing within life. All right, one thing I want to do is make sure I'm coaching with a lot of intensity and enthusiasm. All right, again, like I just talked about, I want to teach at them. I don't do too much yelling. Like I said earlier, I'm blessed to be around guys that love the game of football, and I think with that mentality, I shouldn't have to yell at you. I always tell them jokingly with these guys, always tell them, I got to tell you the same thing 3 times. I may have to start yelling because you're not getting me talking it out. But at the end of the day, I want to be teaching all the time for those guys. All right. Second is play as many players as possible. All right. Again, like we talked about earlier, they should know where they stand for themselves rotationally, things of that nature. Are they starters? They should know what their role is, the key backups. If you're a third safety going in, third corner going in, however it breaks down, they didn't know that. And then the role players need to know how they need to accomplish their role as well. Could be on special teams. In our room, in defensive back room, I always tell these guys, if you're not on special teams, don't anticipate starting on as a defensive back. All right? We got to be able to tackle well and often. I think that's very important on the back end. We got to eliminate every big play that pops through the line. We are third in the country in rush defense, and it's because we can clean up a lot of stuff on the back end with great tackling fundamentals. And again, we'll talk about that as we continue to go forth today. All right, but again, like you talked about, we're going to do daily drills. We're going to always do tackling drills. I don't care, again, if we just got our shorts and T-shirts on, we're going to still do some sort of tackling drill. And again, we'll watch some of those drills and give you some ideas of what you can do without shoulder pads. All right, we'll do that in an individual and or group basis, working with the wide receiver sometimes or running backs, doesn't matter. All right, but again, everybody should have the same basic fundamentals on what we're trying to accomplish on tackling. All right, everybody should be on the same page. We're always going to be talking about running to the ball. All right, our defensive coordinator Randy Bates does a good job of making sure these guys understand we want to be what we call BIA, best in America. So he's always talking in that regard, and the guys love that. They always want to be the best in America. And that's why, to me, a lot of reasons mentally in which that all of our stats has gone up over the last few years in that regard, all right? We're going to always work pursuit and drills as well as group periods, all right? So when we're going against the offense, we're going to always burst to the ball. You know what I'm saying? We do not want to have any lows out there. We got to have that mentality to be able to get 11 hats to the ball every single play, all right? Again, we talked about grading and showing them daily. I'll pull out some lows for them throughout the day that they may have had the day before. You know, you don't want to be on that. You usually try to go over that first, knock it out the way so they know it's not acceptable. All right, you know, obviously when freshmen come in, they have a misunderstanding of what a loaf is. You know, we got to get them on that same page so they can be like the guys that have been here 4 and 5 years quickly. All right, we're going to always talk turnovers. Again, talking about best in America all again. All right, and again, we ended up 9th in the country in interceptions. So we're getting our hands on the ball, doing a lot of ball drills, in which that has been showing its rewards from that. All right, we'll talk about it every rep. All right, again, always talking about grading players, talking about, you know, it could be one day where I show the lows, next day could be all great plays in the beginning, all interceptions in the beginning. All right, so, and we'll reward them in games, you know, that they do have interceptions, like our defensive coordinator will have gifts for them and things of that nature when we do get on back in after a game where they got big time plays. All right. As we talk about making plays, just going down what my core fundamentals are and what we should be doing in the defensive backfield, we got to always try to get our hands on the ball. All right, we want to be able to get as many PBUs as we can. All right, we want to, and hopefully we can get 25% of those PBUs turned into interceptions. All right, so if we're touching the ball 4 times, I expect one of those to be an interception. All right, always stripping at the ball. All right, so even in practice all day, that's all we're doing is trying to go after the ball. If the running back runs by there, we want him to go ahead and get on upset because we're trying to go after the ball a little bit. All right, again, we just talked about running to the ball. We want to also squeeze on routes. All right, so we want to be an aggressive coverage team on the back end based on our quarters package. All right, we talk about eye control, see a little, see a lot. All right, so we talk about keys a lot. Obviously, we're not going to be talking about that today. However, it's one of my favorite sayings, see a little, see a lot. All right, your key will take you to where you need to go. Your key will tell you how to react. All right, because our job is really to take away the quarterback's first read. All right, we allow our defense to lead the country in sacks the last couple of years because we want to take away the quarterback's first read, make him go to the secondary read, make him go through his progressions, and we got some goons up front which will go up there and get those guys. They have to go through the progressions. All right, and then most importantly, as we'll talk about today, is again hitting on a lot of tackling. Is that we want no yak yards. All right, so which is no yards after the catch. So after the receiver catches the ball, it should be a catch tackle, catch tackle, catch tackle. No yards after the catch. All right. To go over briefly the things in which that, you know, we're always talking to these guys about, you know, these are 3 intangibles that takes no physical ability. All right. No physical ability. But you better come every day and give great effort. All right. You better come every day and play with great toughness. All right. And you got to know what to do. So you're always playing fast. So good, having good knowledge, and then come with a great attitude every day in practice. All right. Here we go. And again, just 3 things that I'm always looking for, and we're always trying to develop within our practices is going to be, first of all, having great change of direction. All right. Being able to tackle in space, which a lot of these drills will be able to help us in that. And then we got to have great deep ball judgment. All right. So those are the 3 things that I look for in a defensive back. Those are 3 things that we're always trying to develop in our defensive backs, all right? So we'll be talking a little bit more about tackling today, all right? And these are, to me, some of the common tackling errors in which that people make and which creates them to miss tackles, all right? Eyes going down, all right? And when we're covering guys, I'm always telling them their eyes are their balance. Their eyes will drive them in the direction in which they're trying to cover a guy, all right? Same thing with the tackling. If they drop their eyes, their body will fall. All right. And then most importantly, it's unsafe. All right. So I don't want anybody getting hurt on my watch. All right. So I'm always out there when I do see anybody's head even halfway down, eyes to the sky, bite the ball, bite the ball. All right. So we don't want that to happen at all. Also, too, stopping your feet. All right. We're an aggressive defense. We go what we call eat. All right. Give a lot of effort to the tackle, all right? So, again, we don't want to do any breaking down. All right, we'll talk about the angles that we take and things in 1 second. But I believe if you stop your feet, you will cause a player to be at a lunge, and you'll have no hits to bring power when you tackle. All right, so that's via open field, within tunnel tackles, you name it. We want to be able to be running through, attacking everything that we do.
Thank you again to the Pennsylvania Scholastic Football Coaches Association for the use of this content on the podcast. The entire clinic talk, along with all the clinic talks from their clinic, can be found on CoachTube. The link to this talk, as well as the entire channel for Pennsylvania, is linked in the show notes. Follow me on Twitter at Coach K. Grabowski. Follow all we're doing at coachandcoordinator.com.